Big cohort, we are here. It is Saturday, doing some teaching of the DCS. Should be a good time. We're going to be getting up to some DTC fun times with the F-14BU and focusing on that particular powerful tool to really kind of make the most out of it. So let's go ahead and get into the game. There are a few ways that we can get in and do this. And the first of which being this open DTC button down here at the bottom, which can be used pretty much anywhere. That shows up in multiplayer, it shows up in single player, and we get the DTC interface. I'm going to go ahead and exit out of that briefly though, so I can go ahead and call for a rearm, make some loadout adjustments. Change our other associated stuff.
Request rearming. Copy.
But before startup, we are going to go ahead and go to our ground crew menu and the DTC interface.
Copy.
And as soon as they're done with the rearm, they will pull us into the interface itself as well. So there's a couple of ways you can get into it in mission, whether you are flying multiplayer or single player. Just waiting on that rearm to finish.
Rearming complete.
There we go. And now we're in the menu. And we can see things kind of moving in real time. So over here on the right, we have our various DTC operations that we can play around with. We can change the cartridge name, which we're going to go ahead and change to, I don't know if I actually like the background stuff still working. It feels like it should be overwritten right now. Now we are just going to go ahead and pause that real quick. Because it feels like I just dropped my hook down when I hit the H on my keyboard. So this might be better to set up when you're not actually sitting in the jet, but if you have one that's saved and you're just looking to load those options, you can use the import and export buttons there to pull that information up. So talk about the navigation tab, because you can plan up to 12 flight plans, one of which is always the mission editor route. So the ME route is always available. And so if the mission editor has placed waypoints down all over the map, those waypoints will all be there. But we can go to plan 2 and build our own flight path. So what we're going to go ahead and do is go ahead and build one of those real quick. And we are in place on map mode. Just go ahead and click out here, see if it's going to let me do this while paused. Here we go, it's working. So we can place waypoints out here. And you'll note that the elevation is automatically set to the ground. Go ahead and have one where we fly on out this way. Keep it all very low level. Remember, we have our friend, the SA-6, that's out here. We can go back to editing that at any point. So let me go ahead and unpause for just a moment. going to make sure that we've got a good spot out here for our friend the SA-6. Because I'm not going to be bringing a pod along for the ride. Should still appear in our menu.
Copy.
And it didn't, but that's okay. We're going to use that as our attack point anyway. We'll just go ahead and keep placing our waypoints here because we've got 50 of them. And so we might as well. Put one out here for the SA-8. Come out, Dry Lake. And then landing. Now we do have some names that we can assign to some of these waypoints if we like. And we can see these down here at the bottom. And these are very similar to what you can use in the mission editor that sets some of the default waypoints that are available in the F-14. Like through the mission editor, as we've done before. Because remember, prior to the BU, we didn't have a digital flight control system that couldn't store a bunch of waypoints and other information in it. So it was all done through the limited memory available on the jet, which allowed up to 10 waypoints. 3 steer points were active at a time. And then you had some additional waypoints like fixed point, initial point, home base, defense point, hostile area, and surface target. And you can use various names here. Anything prior to the X is going to be what the name of that waypoint is. So if you had a particular mission call out that you were building or wanting to use, such as I'm always going to use the name, Thompson for whatever reason as my target point. You could call it, Thompson X number and like XST, and that would be a surface target pre-programmed in there. Now the information's right down here at the bottom. You can add different lines and additional points just as reference type points. Assign them names as well, so that's another way where you can do waypoint names and suffixes in that regard. And if for whatever reason you needed to change elevation for a given point, like I want to make sure that we're flying this one at a certain altitude, or ground speed, or a time on target, you can pre-program all of those features ahead of time. Or I want to be in this spot at this time and make speed adjustments accordingly to make that happen. So we have our route initially planned. Let's talk about the next page, which is JDAM. And we can do some interesting things here. Because we can pre-program our various stations for our JDAM. Now in this case, we're only going to be using the AF2 stations, which are 4 and 6. So let's go ahead and set up an attack point here for Station 4. give it a name. And you can see that it's got a little wedge here. And if you look at it real careful and think about it a little bit, this kind of looks like the same wedge that one would see if you were looking down at the TID in the little bident that we've talked about before about bomb maximum range, bomb optimal range, and bomb minimum range. Corresponds with the distance of this wedge. But this also assumes a drop altitude of 20,000 feet, which we're not really going to be able to do there. Let's go ahead and say maybe 9,000 feet. All right, 10,000. Thanks, game. And we'll include a run-in speed of... We should be able to make 600 knots. Now it changes a lot of these parameters, but the other thing that we can do is we can grab this little triangle and actually set it up for where we think our ingress is going to be. And we can even change bomb-specific impact headings if we want to hit this place. Like a good example would be if we're throwing a bomb at the backside of a hill. All right, the safest approach for us is to go ahead and fly over the top of that hill, but the site that we need to hit, we need the bomb to be angled back towards that hill. You could change the impact heading and impact angle so that the bomb will fall off the jet, turn around, and strike the target from an intended direction, which means that you can drop that bomb from behind cover, and instead of having it just kind of ballistically fall on top of the target, you know, it can turn and hit it from a very specific angle. All right, so we're going to move down to bomb 6. And we're going to place our weapon there. Same thing, we're going to come at this low altitude, but very fast. And we'll just go ahead and roll that over. There we go. Now those are set up for us. CMDS is the countermeasure dispensing system. And this is where we can change various different programs. And there's even some auto programs and per type overrides that you can set up. So if you know that you've got, you know, various different systems that are in play, you can design countermeasure programs ahead of time specific to the given threat. And you can do things like burst quantity. Right now these are set to kind of double dispense flares 2 at a time. Burst interval, half a second. You can dial that down. Salvo quantity 8, it's going to deploy 16 bursts of 2. And the salvo interval, how long between salvos. And these will be done automatically for programs 1 through 6. So like pilot reactive, I want to dump out 2 flares. Double dispense, and we'll just do a salvo quantity of 1. So every time I kick it out, it's going to belch out a couple of flares when I manually hit the pilot reactive button. Otherwise, it will dispense the countermeasures based on the program provided. So if you wanted to get through here and set up automatic programs for all of the radar-directed SAMs to exclude flares from dispensing, you can set that up through here, including what radar is looking at you. Is it a search, a track, or a launch system? So you can really get in here and fine-tune your countermeasure program with the DTC and then save it for use later. One of the things that I would recommend very strongly for BU pilots is to get in and set these up yourself, but save it without any waypoints or target points for your JDAM so that you can use it from map to map and mission to mission. You know, you could at the very least import the data from a file and then make edits to that file specific to the mission that you're on for building your own waypoints and everything else. And then the last one is the tactical image set. This is for sharing information between other jets. And you can add different people, as long as they're flying BUs, based on their call signs. So if I was in a multiplayer mission, I could have all these other folks listed here that are flying BUs and add them to an information set to share tactical imagery, such as what my pod's looking at, or particular pictures that we've taken with the TARPS pod and things like that. And of course, last but not least, we can export that data as a DTC file. And that allows us to go ahead and import that at any point. And it's going to put these waypoints down, this mission targets down, all pre-programmed and ready to rock and roll. We'll go and we'll unpause. We'll jump back here to the back seat briefly. Pilum teaching card. So that should be the card that Jester loads when we start the jet.
Chief, connect ground air supply.
So we're going to go ahead and run this mission real quick, and we'll see how close our weapons get.
Ground air supply is now connected. Copy. Ground power is now on.
Gotcha. Closing canopy. Check.
Okay, we're just waiting on alignment here for a minute.
Chief, disconnect ground air supply. Chief, turn off the ground power. Ground air supply is now disconnected. Copy. Ground power is now off.
Jet aligns so much faster on a runway.
All right, ready to taxi.
Okay, so let's go ahead and come down here to navigation. Oh, actually, it's a tactical imaging set. That's where we can actually create those things. Actually, I want to make sure first that our let's see where we are here with this. Yeah, it just has our one steer point in there for the first one. But we should have our other information available to us for our flight plan.
Alrighty. Roger that, Wilco.
Should have our other DTC plan available there to us. Let's get this recentered. All right, navigation, flight plan, load flight plan.
Roger that.
I needed to give the flight plan a name, so that would be on the list there for us. That was the step that I missed. But this should automatically program our bombs too. So let's go ahead and fly it. No, we still got chocks on the jet, that's right.
Chief, remove the wheel chocks.
It's not like the carrier where they just pull them for me. And just before takeoff here, we're just going to verify that everything is looking good. We have a waypoint out there that's 34 miles away. More or less right off the nose. If we click on ourselves, it will still show us the mission waypoints there, but if we remember, I put my first waypoint like out here on the end of this road, which is about 34 miles away. So the EGI is showing us right where we need to go. Okay. We'll get a little bit of altitude here, but we are going to treat this a little bit like we're flying the mission that we planned using our DTC. Let's go ahead and go up air to ground.
All right.
We got our 2 J dams in the back. And we can even see our route plugged in on the TID. I'll sweep the wings back into bomb mode. Coming up on our first turn. Now we should have auto sequencing set, so as we fly over the waypoint or get near the waypoint, we will jump to the next one so we can follow our TACAN compass. And now that we're not over the city, master arm on.
Yep.
You can see on the HUD that we do have a diamond, representative of a surface target. So our J-dam should be already ready to go. Being able to program a time on target direct with the DTC is very helpful for missions where timing is critical, as it gives you a not quite brain off, but a definite indicator about where you are in the mission phase and whether or not you need to slow down, anchor, and hold for a minute. Auto sequence to the next point. Or if you need to bump your speed up so you can get back to a time on target because you had to deal with some kind of outside threat. Like an unexpected SAM site or similar obstacle. I'm going to pause here very briefly just so we can come down here and look at this. We can see our wedge as it appears in the planning phase. And we can also see the Biden currently coming off there. We got our little cup showing us minimum range. the line, optimum range, and maximum range. Now when we're flying this one, this should all be roughly lined up, but anywhere in that wedge should be, in theory, within range, as long as we're at airspeed and our release altitude. A lot of folks out there will say that, you know, DCS in general is not something that you can do pre-planned anything for, or that it is more likely to do pick up targets. It's more the role for CAS. That's a close air support type role. And I'm not saying that it's not possible to do with the Tomcat, because it is, if you've especially got a targeting pod, but that's almost required to make that work unless you got somebody feeding you coordinates. But for the precision strike role that the aircraft was designed to take over for, that's one of the comparisons that I've seen floating around online is that, oh, the BU is the F-14E killer. It is not. Not by a long shot. The F-15E is a premier strike platform, and with some of the mods that are out there right now giving us the modernized version of it that Razbam had promised us but is unable to deliver on at the moment due to lack of money, really does make that excel. The F-15E is definitely far and away better at the multiple target strike job. Not to say that the 14 can't do it. You've got 4 bombs on board that you can carry. So you could, in theory, hit up to 4 different targets in the same mission. But the F-14 took over the role from the A-6 Intruder, which was the Navy's premier strike platform, until its retirement in 1996. And that's when the late Dale Snodgrass and everyone else was doing things like,
I'm showing nails, 11 o'clock.
You know, what can we do to make this aircraft more lethal? You know, we've got $1 billion to spend. We can either put AMRAAMs on it or give it capability to release bombs and targeting pod integration. They said, well, we got Phoenixes, or Feeny bombs as he calls them in the documentary, and we got Sparrows. We don't need AMRAAM. So let's go ahead and take over this bombing role. They also saw a lot. Oh, thanks, Orbital Rose. Appreciate that. They also saw a lot in Desert Storm, where the Navy's cap obligations were over the water, and that was definitely not happening. So you had a bunch of Tomcat pilots flying cap, because before 1992, the Tomcat wasn't rated for carrying and dropping bombs. Flying a cap mission with nobody to shoot at. So you had a bunch of pilots that were looking for new roles for their favorite aircraft, which eventually leads us down the road where we get to where we are right now with the BU. So the BU taking over that precision strike role from the A6. Is designed to go in and hit a specific target that you can absolutely plan using the DTC features that we've showed off a little bit earlier, to come in and hit a specific target in a specific way at a specific altitude with a specific weapon and then get out. We do have MiG-23s that are up and about. We will have to deal with them here in a minute. But our sequencing is still looking good for us to be able to attack this SA-6 site. Pulling the wings all the way aft. T-max in 40 seconds. Try and keep us down below those hills.
Strato bladder, 11 o'clock, 14 miles.
Heads up, Nails.
12 o'clock. And, oh, nails, 11 o'clock. And mud, 1 o'clock. Spike, 12 o'clock, dead ahead.
That's a MiG-23 looking at us now. We are going to be a little quicker on our T-rail.
I got a spike here, 11 o'clock.
Pickle.
Okay, let's do this. Friendly, 1 o'clock. 11 miles.
Oh, those missiles are going to need a minute. See how our bomb's doing. It might actually come down right where it needs to. I think our waypoint guess was good. We'll see.
Missile launch, 6 o'clock high. Hot. Break left. Missile, 12 o'clock.
Ooh, got us on the nose. Let's see where our bomb actually landed. All right, we overshot it. We overshot that with our bomb. Which is, guesswork, because I didn't actually have a waypoint or other marker set for where this SA-6 actually was. That's okay. That's okay, that happens. Let's go ahead and reset real quick, though, and we'll go back to looking at the DTC one more time. And we should be able to fly that one again real quick. Select our BU. Again, here's the fun part of our DTC is that we can just import the data. Bam, there's our route. There's our route, there's our plan. Come over to the JDAM. Just going to move this waypoint around here a little bit. So 8 is set up. The nice thing with this, again, is that we can see where exactly we want things to be aimed at and how to go. We can adjust the wedge. We really want to make a hit from a particular impact heading or an impact angle. We can hit these options here and set those. And you can set up several different precision points for each station, which is addressed by 6.1 to 6.8. You can keep all that information stored. So if you've got a variety of strike target options available, and it's like you need to go up this particular target and hit this one because another one has already been dealt with. Yeah, you can get in and set it up that way to do it. or you can just do it individually based on the pylons. And they match up just like they do in the mission editor. So 3 and 5 are your forward stations, 4 and 6 are your aft stations on the jet. Okay, let's give this another try.
Chief, turn on the ground power. Chief,
Copy.
connect ground air supply. Chief,
Copy.
remove the wheel chocks.
Ground power is now on. Ground air supply is now connected. Copy. Wheel chocks are now removed.
Roger that. Closing canopy. Check.
Chief, turn off the ground power. Chief, disconnect ground air supply.
Okay, set ourselves to digital mode.
Ground power is now off. Ground air supply is disconnected.
Ourselves up for EGI steering. Still kind of waiting on Jester to finish loading everything. I'm going to change our loadout again to be reflective of what we were using just a minute ago. I know that's going to be stations 4 and 5 is what I need that on.
Ready to taxi.
Which is okay because we can make
Request refueling.
the adjustment through our DTC menu.
Request rearming.
Copy. Copy.
They're going to rearm us first and then we'll be able to go.
Refueling complete.
Fastest weapon handlers in the fleet.
Rearming complete.
Okay. So instead of station 6 being out here, make it station 5. Export that to our card just to make sure it's all saved nice and neat as a pin. And then we will have Jester reload that flight plan.
Roger that.
All the information on your kneeboard is from the mission editor. Alright. 34 miles to our next point. Okay. So this time, I think if we encounter our MiG-23 friends again, that we will deal with them first, and then press the attack. But we can see our route all nice and shiny there. We'll see what we can deal with out here.
Whoa, we got dirt at 3 o'clock.
Take it a little higher altitude than what we did the first time. Parting Las Vegas's airspace here as we head over the hump to Pahrump. Take him out of auto expand mode there for a moment. No sign of our friends yet. And auto sequence to the next point.
Dirt at 1 o'clock.
The SA-6 can see us at this altitude.
There is a friendly 325, 66 miles, Angels 20.
Which is slightly less than ideal. I really didn't want to wake him up early, but also don't want to get jumped by a MiG-23 again. And that's the AWACS that we're tracking out there right now. Yeah, it's a friendly contact up on the Sparrowhawk. Alright, it'll probably summon the MiG-23s, but let's go ahead and go up here to ground.
Copy. Roger. Okay, I'll start bumping our speed up.
Still no signs from the MiG-23s. I'm okay with that. That, however, would be them. And rather than completely flying our fancy route, we're going to try and just get in there for it.
Got it.
Cooking at 600.
Roger that. I've got some dirt on the nose and a mud spike. 12 o'clock.
Let's try and get under him here a little bit. Set his lock to launch. Okay, there's T-Max. Bombs off the jet.
I've got dirt at 6 o'clock. Roger. I've got nails 4 o'clock. Heads up, nails 5 o'clock.
Okay, that one looked like it was close enough this time to do it. Let's take a look here. Yeah, we're within the blast limits of being able to knock out that track radar and most of the launchers. We are up air to air. With the SA-6 out of commission, we should be able to go after some bad guys here. Let's check in with the AWACS.
Overlord 1-1. Uzi 3. Request bogey dope.
Fights on. Okay, your dot.
Okay, those are our guys.
There's a friendly, 340, 61 miles, Angels 28, and a bandit
Box
2
3.
ship, Brock 320, 18 miles. I have dirt, 3 o'clock.
Box 3.
And nails, 1 o'clock. Friendly, KC-135, 11 o'clock, 11 miles.
Alright, Missile 1's active. Missile 2's active. It's going to put them on the defensive.
Friendly, 11 o'clock, 11 miles.
TTI expired
got
in the
him,
first
flash.
one. He's out.
The bandit is going down. Splash!
And he's out.
Bandit is down.
All right, let's go back up here to ground.
There's dirt, 11 o'clock, 5 o'clock.
And it's going to reset our TID range here.
Copy that.
GPU-31 is selected.
Roger that.
Now, just for the giggles, I am going to go ahead and try and fly our route a little bit more as planned. We should be approaching from the outer edge of that trapezoid shape. To make our attack. Which should also very conveniently keep us from behind the SA-8 on a hill. Or with a hill, rather. T-max is calculated, T-rel is up. And bumper speed up to the intended speed.
Hey, I got some dirt at 11 o'clock.
That should be good, and pickle.
Looks like there's dirt at 7 o'clock.
And there we go. That is our pre-planned, podless, following the waypoint sort of strike, utilizing our DTC.
Copy. Oh, nails, 8 o'clock.
Go and save our weapons.
Alright, selecting that waypoint as destination.
It's 15.
Alright, destination set to that waypoint. Alright, direct to selected. I'm showing nails 10 o'clock.
All right, waypoint 14 will take us out back towards home. And with 15, 16, and 17, steering us in. As a preview for next week, we're going to be moving or messing around with the tactical imaging set and the ISLID laser pointer. So that should be a lot of fun to play around with and hopefully work with an additional aircraft on that. And I have to talk with my fellow Tomcat drivers and make sure I can get an extra body in here so that we can play with that together. We'll make sure we have that all worked out in the range for next week's Pilum Teaches session. DTC, though, very powerful, very potent mission planning tool that is available in any mission, anywhere with the BU. Now, you do have to set the thing up on the ground or on the deck. It's not something that you can make a bunch of changes to load a whole new data cartridge, for example, once you are in the air. No, actually, that's the other thing I wanted to check on was pop. It gave me my 2-second burst of chaff, or flares rather, as indicated on the DTC. Strong encouragement for all Tomcat drivers who are flying the BU to get in and program at least a blank DTC for nothing, if nothing more than to do your countermeasure settings. For those who really want to take the time to fine-tune the hell out of the Tomcat, get into your DTC and program an automatic chaff or flared response based on which SAM system is in play. Because otherwise, Jester will drop countermeasures on his own, and he might put out flares in addition to, chaff. So, it is to your benefit as a pilot to use the automatic threat response system of, hey, the RWR system has detected a particular SAM has locked and launched at you. What do you want to do? Well, it's a radar-guided SAM site, so the one thing that I definitely don't want to do is dispense all my flares. So you can do that. You can program that setting in the DTC.
Direct 2 it is.
That'll help you conserve chaff and flares for when you need them most.
Okay, there's dirt at 8 o'clock.
By not having a bunch of wasted effort. We're going to go ahead and descend down to 10,000 feet as we begin our approach here into Nellis. Just some
showing nails 10 o'clock.
Minor words of warning, I guess, what I've seen with some of the JDAM's employment and everything else. Really don't want to have a massive climb or descent. Descent probably not so much of a problem, but definitely a toss bombing with those. Sometimes they can run a little long if you are close to the waypoint. So if you're going to be toss bombing, try and toss those a little bit closer to either T optimal or T max to allow the bomb time to cruise up and then come back down and for the GPS system to correct. Otherwise it'll go long like it did in our first shot, because I really threw that one up into the sky and made it lose all its energy, which was a lot less than helpful.
Yes, sir.
See if he does the steering update here as we cruise over the top of this one as we come in for lineup. Meanwhile, we're going to go ahead and make sure that we are set for a field landing so that our indexer doesn't blink at us and that our spoiler and brake system is up.
Wilco.
Okay. I'm not going to worry so much about it in Direct 2 as we are definitely close enough for now. And Nellis's TACAN will bring us right on home. Go ahead and set ourselves up for a Case 1 arrival with a right hand rather than left hand turn. For the folks that for whatever reason don't fly any of the Navy aircraft available to them in DCS, the carrier Case 1 approach is very similar to the overhead brake in terms of all of your setup parameters for coming in, what you do when you get into it, and your overall setup. The intention here is going to be to come down on runway 21 right. And for those who've played the very fine Red Flag 81-2 campaign, generally they have you come in and line up on runway 21 left, fly an overhead brake pattern to the right, to then come back around to land on 21 right. We're a little higher, we're going to bring an altitude down, and we're going to bring our speed down to about 350 knots.
I've got nails, 4 o'clock.
Wings are fully swept back. And if we were doing this over the carrier, we would be down at 800 feet. We're going to make it about 1,000. Coming in on this particular tarmac. And since for today at least we are pretending to be Navy pilots, we're going to try and make sure that we hit the 3-wire in that dark stretch. So we don't need a whole runway to land, and we have broken the deck. We're going to go ahead and pull idle power, lean over to the right, throw the speed brake out, wings auto. And as we come down to 250 knots, deploy the landing gear. So we're under 225 knots, deploy the flaps. Pull the speed brake in as we're not flying an A-model Tomcat, we've actually got engine response. Everything is down and locked, DLC is now out and engaged. And we're just waiting for our mythical round down to appear, or the 45-degree mark off the back of the jet. About there now. Since we are in field mode, the indexer will not blink at us with the landing gear down, which is an indicator to let you know when you are in carrier mode that your hook is not down.
$500 feet. 400. 300. 200.
Okay, flaps in, spoiler brake off, wings coming aft. Spider detent pulled. That system kind of wear itself out a little bit. Should be able to pull the wings back to oversweep in a moment. Starting to jitter there on us, good times, and there it goes. It's clean configuration.
You bet.
Being able to make use of time on target is going to be something else that we're going to be showing off here in the near future as well. One of our Pilum teaches missions as a strike simulation, needing to hit a target by a particular time and within a particular window to make the best use of the DTC systems. We'll also have another mass YouTube video update here soon. Got a bunch of our older VODs uploaded there, so that should be good to have. And with that, we are cold, dark, and back home. Hope you've enjoyed the tutorial that we had today on using the DTC and then actually seeing that employed. Appreciate all the likes, follows, subscribes. They really do keep the channel moving and flowing. With that, always ask for consent. Try to communicate as best you can with partners. Try to be genuinely decent human beings. We should be up again Tuesday, and Tuesday we're playing through the Reforger 3 campaign with the Tomcat BU. So we're going to be doing Mission 2 this Tuesday at 6:30 and see where we go from there. Thank you for watching, folks. I will catch up with you next time, and Pilum out.